But as we know, Jack Curley died, and he was the head of promoter of Madison Square Garden then in 1937. And they did a Jack Curley memorial wrestling card for him in the Garden, but that was the time where the Garden was not doing too well. But they apparently made an effort to try to revitalize things. This is a telegram from September 2nd, 1937 to Jim Londos, care of Tom Pax at the Maryland Hotel in St. Louis, Missouri. And remember last week when we talked about the Johnston family associated with Madison Square Garden, boxing and wrestling. They had the contract with the Garden in some fashion where everything related to something in the ring went through them, no matter what promoters or talent they were dealing with. Well, this is from Bill Johnston, as I said, to Londos, care of Tom Pax, who was the St. Louis promoter. We are opening Madison Square Garden September 15th. Memorial for the late Jack Curley. Stop. Can offer you $5,000 guarantee with privilege of 25% of net receipts to meet Steve Crusher Casey. Finish bout. Stop. If agreeable, confirm acceptance. And I mean, I don't see why this is a legitimate telegram. I don't see why this would be part of publicity. But in those days, Londos got guarantees versus percentages. They were trying to draw in the Garden. Around $5,000, again, from 1937 today, would be somewhere over $100,000. But he didn't take it. For whatever reason, I've got from, again, Scott Teal, crowbarpress.com, the book Wrestling in the Garden, the September 15th, 1937 Jack Curley Memorial Show. Steve Casey ended up beating Benny Feldman. Dano O'Mahony did a 30-minute Broadway with Ed Don George. Yvonne Robert beat Billy. That was a big match.
That was a big match.
But no championship at that point. Yvonne Robert beat Billy Bartush, George Clark, Jim Wallace, Jesse James drew Billy Rayburn. I mean, these fucking names, right? Steve Casey, O'Mahony, and George were the names, but Casey and Feldman in the main event, they drew 3,000 people. So at Garden ticket prices of the time, one would think, I said that I don't know that's a $15,000 house. I'm trying to find some record of similar attendance with a dollar figure attached, but they weren't bandying those figures about at that time period. They weren't doing well. So point is, they would have been out some money if he'd have taken the fucking offer. But that's the kind of money that Londos used to command in those days to do a major event, which is fucking insane. Because now, but here's, when you go back in the Gardens, or in the Garden rather, to the 1920s, they were doing, at least reporting, gates of like $60,000 and $70,000 for the big match. And here, the $30,000, and this was the older Garden, so 12,000 people was a sellout. But the average ticket prices in the 20s were decidedly higher than the 30s because of the Depression. But Londos was still in the early 30s selling the place out. And then, as a matter of fact, hold on, where's the stadium show?
You know, the Depression hit, it didn't kill the motion picture business. No matter how bad things got, there were certain parts of entertainment that it really didn't hurt as bad as it should have, could have, would have.
Well, and the movies were already, Nickelodeons. That's where it started, the nickel. The movies were 10 cents or whatever, so it didn't affect them. It actually boosted attendance because that was some way you could get some entertainment without, spending a fortune. But with sports tickets, there was a deflation that happened that, it took a while to recover from. And that's when Londos and Ray Steele on June 1931 had done 30,000 people at Yankee Stadium, and the house was $63,000.
Yeah.
So again, that was a fantastic crowd, but the tickets were only a couple of dollars average, whereas 10 years before it had been double that. Nevertheless, he didn't make the poor Jack Curley was not remembered by Jim Londos.